I think this is a very amazing project. I think Srila Prabhupada does really approve of this, especially those devotees who have joined in their youth and are still here in their older ages, you know. It's very nice to, I mean, not that we expect or think of getting any kind of, you know, thank you. We thank Srila Prabhupada for finding us somewhere in the material world and making us devotees, giving us initiation. We're so deeply grateful, and to have somebody recognize that, it's very nice. It's very nice. Thank you. I think it was a really thoughtful thing to do. Thank you. I'm completely amazed. Srila Prabhupada looks so beautiful, so beautiful. And to know that he was made with the coins that actually bought books from foreign countries and that sort of thing. Book distribution was very, very important to Srila Prabhupada. You know, he was all about preaching, about spreading Krishna consciousness. Everybody remembers when they got their first book and when their first prasadam. But everyone will remember the first book they got. I certainly do. And it's a really vital thing. And there's so many devotees who are still distributing books after so many years, you know, my godbrothers also, and they definitely deserve a lot of praise. We're all doing something still, you know, whatever it is. He's very, very, very beautiful. He's so real. He's so real. He's so there for us. He's so thoughtful. He looks very thoughtful, like he's really in deep thought, and very beautifully made. The idea is just incredible. And again, I thank very much whoever came up with the idea and all those working to do this. It's quite incredible. Thank you. Most definitely, most definitely. One of my godbrothers just left his body this morning, and I was reading. We have assembly every day. We have Guru Puja, and then I read his life story. He was such an amazing person, Haridas. So this will now be his disappearance day. But but he was so incredible that he came to Bombay to get a job, and he couldn't. You can edit this out afterwards. But anyway, I'll just tell you. And he couldn't get a job, so he started picking pockets. You know, stealing from people. And so he ended up in jail. And in the jail, he found a BTG in a dustbin, Bhakti Godhead magazine. So from that, he saw a picture of Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada happened to be wearing a gold watch. And so he thought, when I get out of jail, I'm going to find this person and I'm going to steal his watch. He couldn't care less about Prabhupada, he just wanted that watch. And the story goes on how he walked all the way to Bombay because he had no money. And anyway, the long story, finally he met Srila Prabhupada and he told the story, and Prabhupada said, "Oh, you want this watch? Here." He took his watch off, just gave it. Later on he came for initiation. He came just to see the initiation because there was something going on he wanted to see. And so Prabhupada saw him just standing in a corner. He said, "What are you doing there? Why don't you come and sit down?" He said, No, I'm just watching. And he said, "Well, aren't you getting initiated?" He goes, No, I don't even know what that is." And then Prabhupada, so merciful, Prabhupada took him on and he said, "Okay, so what is your name?" And he said, "Well, Giriraj Maharaj calls me Haridas." And he said, "Okay, your name is Haridas." Prabhupada said, like that. And then he said, "What are the 4 regulative principles?" He goes, "What are those?" And Giriraj, he said, Prabhupada said, "Giriraj." And Giriraj came and he said, "You know, I told you those 4 principles." He goes, "Oh yes, okay, I know that." That's what he told Prabhupada. And Prabhupada then, then later, he loved Prabhupada so much that he thought, the one thing that he really loved was chocolate. And so he used to go they would send him out with some money to go and buy flowers for the deities, but he would always keep, because he had that stealing tendency, he would always keep that little bit of money to buy some chocolate on the way back. So he thought, okay, I'm going to buy chocolate for Srila Prabhupada. So he bought 2 Cadbury Star, 4-star, whatever it is, chocolate bars, and he put them in his bead bag, and then he came to see Prabhupada, but when he paid his obeisances, the chocolate bars fell out. And so Prabhupada said, oh, what is this? He said, oh, this is for you, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada started to open up, and he said, oh, we don't eat this, we don't eat this. But you like sweets, I understand. Okay, you come with me. Just in the middle of his day. So Prabhupada took him down to the kitchen, and Prabhupada personally made him halava. And later on in Reminiscing, Haridas said, now I run a big Govinda's restaurant. I can eat all the wonderful prasadam from so many cooks that I want, but I will never find prasadam as tasty as that Srila Prabhupada made, that halava that he made for me. So Prabhupada put some time and effort into this thief, this boy, this Jagai Madhai, and he became such a huge preacher. He just left his body now. He must be probably older than I am. I'm 75. He's probably a little older. He just left his body, and but he did so much for this preaching movement because he just loved Prabhupada so much. So, too bad. It would have been nice for him to have one of them. But the thing is, we all feel like that Prabhupada, he just found us somewhere in the material world, and there was Prabhupada, and he just took us on. One time they were opening, they wanted to open that center in 26 2nd Avenue, which they have now. But at that time, it wasn't, it was just in the Bowery. It wasn't a very good place and everything. And so when it came up for sale some years later, quite a few years later, they went to Prabhupada and they said, well, we're thinking to buy this and make a memorial, the first place where the Hare Krishna movement started. And Prabhupada was like, well, okay. And then he said, but my worry is, it was Radha Ballabha Prabhu, he said, my worry is that, there's not a good part of town, there's bums outside the door, drunken people, this and that. Prabhupada said, when I was there, you were all outside the door, but you all came inside. So the point was, he had a bunch of hippies that he started with, really. Just a bunch of hippies, but he turned his hippies into happies. And those of us who are still here serving him, they should get that. They would really appreciate that. Sorry, I'm talking way too much. I'm sorry. Ask me about Prabhupada, I can talk for hours. I'm sorry, go ahead, next question. Oh, very much so. I immediately brought mine home. I took him out of his little sleeping bag. I put him on our altar at home. And then at night, I tuck him into his sleeping bag and I tell him good night, I say the prayers, and I get him up in the morning. It's very nice. And soon I have to travel a little bit to see my sister, who, my only sibling. She's quite unwell and she's in her mid-80s, and she's not a devotee at all. She doesn't understand anything about being a devotee. But I'm going to take my Prabhupada with me because he's a little traveling Prabhupada, so I'll have him with me. Oh, sorry. I'll have him with me the whole time. And I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Oh, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making those murtis and getting them out as long as we're still alive, as long as there's still ones of us every day, practically, there's somebody leaving. But in general, the advice is always chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Somehow or other, whatever else, however busy you are, whatever problems you have, get your 16 rounds done somehow. As nicely as you can, but at least every day you get them done. That's my advice. That's what's kept me going all these years. I get up in the morning, first thing, 16 done, then I can get on with my life, My life is busy all day long, but 16 rounds keeps me going all day. And that's what Prabhupada's looking for. And the rest of the day, devotional service. Don't goof around, don't sleep around, don't, just 16 rounds, and spend the rest of your day doing service, whatever service works for you, because it's different for everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Bol.